Okay, so we're just going to show you one example from yesterday, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to multiply x plus 2 times x plus 3. So up here we'll put x, then we got the plus 2 part, and over here we'll do an x, and we got the plus 3 part. So when we multiply it, we're taking this x and multiplying it by x, and also multiplying it by the plus 3. So the first part, we had x times everything. So we took our x and went times x plus 3. Then we also took the plus 2 part, multiply it by x to get plus 2x, and multiply it right here to get plus 6. So this section here, we took the plus 2 and we multiplied it by x plus 3. So two parts imply that the x must multiply by both parts, and the plus 2, oops, wrong color, the plus 2 must also multiply those two parts. So what we're going to do is do this division without using our tiles, and we're going to write it out showing the two steps. There's always going to be two parts to multiplication. The first term times everything, and the plus 2 times everything. Okay, so let's go to our notes, which is right here. So what we want to do here is rewrite this as x times what? Good. That's the first part of our multiplication. And the second part is plus 2. Make sure you include the sign times everything. X plus 3. Okay? So now what I want you to do below is you do your multiplication. And really, really important you work below. So now I can see as I multiply that I get x squared plus 3x. And I get plus 2 times everything, to give me plus 2x plus 6. As you're going to see, and as you saw before, our x's had two different locations. So we have to now combine them. Sometimes we'll get 0 pairs, sometimes we won't. But since they're in two locations, we've got to put them together and get x squared plus 5x plus 6. How many people got that? Heads up. Okay. Do number 2. Write it out the long way. Okay, let's compare these two questions here. What were the signs for number 1? Both the signs were positive in the question. And our final answer, we have plus 5x and plus 6. On the second question, we have negative numbers, both of them. So our middle term is negative, but what about when we multiply them together? We get a positive. Okay. So something to watch out for is those patterns with the signs and the numbers. Okay, how many people got question 2 correct? Hands up. Okay, number 3, go. Okay, how many people got number 3 correct? Okay, number 4, go. Don't turn it over. We're going to talk about this again. So, what I want to talk about is the middle term. Here we have a plus 3x, and here we have a minus 3x. Keep that in mind. What's the difference with the questions? The 8. What about the 8? So 8's the bigger digit. If the bigger digit's positive, what kind of final answer would you get? Positive. Over question number 4, you get a -3 as an answer, and your larger digit, 8, is negative. Okay, and that's really important to see and notice, especially when we're working backwards. Okay, so that's when your signs are opposites. 3 and 4, one was positive, one was negative, and the final answer, the middle sign, will be that of the larger digit. Okay, 5 and 6 all by yourself. First of all, let's predict. Here the larger number is negative, so what will your final answer, the middle term? You get a negative. Okay, go for it. See what you can do with 5 and 6 all by yourself. Okay, so number 5, I showed my work a little bit differently. Number 6 is how I told you to show it. But what I've done is, instead of writing it out the long way, I'm not an expert. I've done this like since grade 9, right? So what I did is I just used arrows. And some teachers will only teach arrows, and that's fine too. Okay, so that's just, if you see that work, you know it is correct. Okay, and so instead of writing out the multiplication the long way, right, x times x minus 12, I can show this by just going x times x times negative 12. And as I do that, each arrow I write the answer. And then I can take the next one, the plus 4, plus 4, and multiply it by each one. There you go. Okay. Hands up if you got both of those correct. Good. So now we're going to get to some harder scenarios. And it's going to get pretty hard pretty fast. Here we're going to have different letters multiplying. So we're going to have x times x times a y. What do we get when we get x times y? Good. What if we switch it up and went y times x? Same thing, xy. Okay, always try and write it alphabetical so it doesn't mess you up. Okay, try number 7, see what you can do. Okay, so here we have our answer, x squared minus xy plus y squared. Notice how both first terms have an x, and so at the front we'll get an x squared. Okay. What letter's on the back of both of them? And so what's the very last term? Y squared. Ah, see where these are coming from? That's important to recognize. What about an xy? What's here and here? What's here and here? So the middle must be the combination xy. Okay. Keep that in mind when you do this. Right away, what's the very first letter in both of them? A. So then your first term will be something a squared. What's the last letter? So it will be something b squared. If you combine them together, what do you get? And so now you have to figure out what that middle number is. So you can see the letters right at the beginning. Okay, that's kind of a pattern. Go ahead and complete 8 now. Go. It's just going to be like number 7, just different letters. Okay, how many people got this answer? 24 squared? Good. Awesome. Starting to see the pattern where things are coming from? Okay, it's about really watching the pattern. Now number 9, there's 2 ways to do number 9. Put your pens down. Okay. If we have 3 times 4 times 8, we do one multiplication first. Then we do the next multiplication, 12 times 8. Okay. We don't go 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 8 is 24, and multiply our answers together. That's not correct. So when you're doing these, one multiplication at a time. Get an answer, multiply it by 8. Now we could, what's 12 times 8 by the way? 72? No, 96. Okay, we could do this. Right? 3 times 32. Right, and then we get 96. Same answer. So my point is, do this and then multiply by the last one, or multiply these two and then multiply it by 2. The method that we're doing, it's probably easiest just to take the 2, multiply it in. And then that answer will be multiplying by x minus 5. Choose a method, do it. Go. Okay, so I showed 2 different methods. The blue is probably an easier one to do for what we've done. But once you become an expert, you know, by any unit, you're going to know pretty much what the answer is for this one right away, just by looking at it, because we're going to do bazillions of these. Okay, and so knowing that pattern, you can go straight to the answer really quickly. Both are the same though. Any questions? Okay, so for number 10, it's identical to what we've done. We're going to take x and multiply it by absolutely everything in the other polynomial, the other brackets. Then we're going to take plus 2, because we always use that sign, and multiply it by everything inside the brackets. Go. Okay, this one's different because now we're getting cubes. Because of the x, we're getting some more changes. Okay. Whoops, that's not plus 2, that should be plus x. So altogether, 2x cubed minus x squared minus 9x plus 2. Hands up if you got that. Good. Okay, it's getting more complicated because there's things to watch out for. This unit, you gotta be very particular. Make sure your numbers are exactly as they should be. Don't change things. On your test, I had some people change 30 to 36. They just weren't paying attention. Or 36 to 30. Okay, you gotta be very particular to the details. Now 11, please change yours to squared. Right now it's a cubed. I don't feel like doing cubes. Okay, so we talked about these being perfect squares. You're going to get them wrong unless you expand them. So the exponent means it's the same thing multiplying by itself. Now it's an easy question, isn't it? Okay, go ahead, do your multiplications. And wait on 12. I just want to show you a couple things. Yeah, change it to 2. You can leave it as 3 if you want, Ishwar. It doesn't matter. I think you know what you're doing. Okay, there's your final answer, 9a squared. Oh, did I screw something up? Which part? No, I think I got it. Okay. Yep, I got it. Now, if we were doing cubed, and we're not, but if we were, what we'd have to do now is take our answer, multiply that by 3a minus 2b. Okay, but we're not going to do that. But if we had, that's what we would have had to have done. Okay? Any questions with this one? Notice again, at the front we have an a, and so over here we have an a squared. Okay. At the back we have a b, so at the back we should have a b squared. And AB combines to give us an AB middle. Okay, so it's important to know where those letters are coming from to help you make sure check your work. Okay, and work backwards. Okay, 12. 12 is kind of cool, but it's a little bit long. So what we're implying here is it's 2x squared times everything. Now put your pencils down. So 2x squared times x squared plus 3x minus 7. This can get really long. This would be minus 5x times x squared plus 3x minus 7. And I'm almost out of room. Then the last one would be plus 4 times x squared plus 3x minus 7. So what we can do is use our arrows to do a shortcut. So as we take our 2x squared and multiply it using an arrow, we will just write down the answer. Do the other multiplication. And then do the last multiplication. And each time we write down our answer. Okay, so go ahead right now, practice with your arrows. Go. Okay, so just use your arrows to practice. Make sure you include the sign in front. You can do it yourself. Last one here. This is an application. This is classic. You're going to see this for sure. Okay. So what we're doing is find the area of the shaded region. You have two options. Option number one, we always try and force you to use. So I'm only going to teach that. I'll talk about and kind of briefly talk about number two. That's a little more basic though. But we really force you for number one. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the area of the total. And I like to use big square brackets, and yes, there's a reason for it, minus the area that's unshaded. Okay. So really what I'm doing is taking the area of the big rectangle and cutting away this little piece here so that this is left over, which is what I want. Okay. The only thing you have to be careful of is we're not going to give you all the dimensions. That's too easy. We're going to make you do a little bit of work. What's the dimension of this entire side? What's not times, that's area. Add. Okay. So what we're going to do is add those together, find the length. Go ahead. Yes, I just need to get this length of the entire side first though. Okay. So that would be 5x plus 3. Okay. What's the length of this entire side? Add them together. No, that's multiplication when you change your exponents. Just add or subtract your coefficients. 3x plus 12. Okay. So what we're going to do for the area of the total, we're going to get 5x plus 3, that large dimension, times the other large dimension, 3x plus 12. Notice it's in the big square brackets. For the unshaded, in square brackets, we will have 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5. It's a square. What do you know? Okay. So put your answer in brackets, and that's very, very important. And then you want to simplify first. Okay. Okay, go ahead. So you have your rough answer and then simplified answer. Okay. So you can add your middle terms together. Okay, go for it. See what you can do. Use your arrows. That can help you. Yeah, I think so. the reason I always ask these questions, but you gotta watch out for your subtraction sign here, right? We put you to sleep with this multiplication, and then all of a sudden your signs change, and you gotta be careful of that. All right, so don't fall asleep. Make sure you subtract correctly, and you'll be fine. Any questions with this one? Now for the other method, if I broke this into area 1 and area 2, I would then add them. And sometimes that's easier because you don't have to worry about the subtraction. Area 1 would be 3x minus 2 times 3x plus 12. So you still have to get that dimension. Area number 2 would be x plus 7 times 2x plus 5. Okay, so just be aware that's another way. But again, we really try and force you to do the other method. So I'm not going to continue with this one, but just be aware that it does exist and it is right. Any questions?